Trigger warning. This episode contains discussions of transphobia, transmisogyny, as well as the actions of the gender critical movement. Viewer discretion is highly advised. Sup nerds, I'm CuppaJoey, and welcome to a very special episode of Are the Cishets Okay, where I'm going to be having a look specifically at Linehan and asking, is Glinner okay? And, well, the answer is no, he's not. That was just a joke. So, I thought that I would have a look at this because the interesting thing is that I was actually a huge fan of Linehan's before he decided to, give up his career in comedy and focus full-time on the old transphobia. One of my favourite sitcoms of all time is Father Ted, which Glinner spearheaded. He also did amazing programmes like The IT Crowd and Black Books. Again, ones that I really love, even though, unfortunately, The IT Crowd does have a transphobic episode, which, kind of, I guess, was it lampshades? The foreshadowing, that's it. It was like letting us know what was to come on the old, anime villain arc going on with Linehan. So I thought I'd start off by looking at this page, one called There's No Evidence for That, Mate, because this is the only, one of Linehan's Substack, which, because he got banned from Twitter, he now has the whole one that you have to subscribe and pay for. And this is one that I was actually featured on. Now, you can't see it anymore. You can if you go to, Google Images. Okay, so I had to look at the Wayback Machine, and unfortunately there is a version of this archive, but if you scroll all the way down to... Oh, hi, Katie. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom... they have, so this person has also been banned from Twitter. This was actually me where I was saying, look, if you really want me to go into a deep dive over why J.K. Rowling is transphobic and not just link you to other trans people that have done it, in a very clear and concise manner, then you're gonna need to pay me for my time. And then they were like, oh, typical, it's just shut up and pay me. So that was why I was featured. But this is, this has been a problem for a while in that I'm going to blur out this one person, but here, this anti-fast Stormwind is like a troll account set up by a transphobe, and the person that they've got here, which I have blurred out, is actually a trans woman who is, real and public and out as trans, and this is a fake account, and Linehan is using it as, evidence that trans people are bad. So much of, the evidence that they show on these, TERF is a slur and peak trans and all of these terrible transphobic sites that you go on, so much of it is, their own troll accounts set up pretending to be trans people, that they're just oh, well, this is clearly true, because this fits in with how we, view them as monsters in our minds, Oh, and I just wanted to point out the beauty of this. What are you cool guys doing? Oh, nothing, just protecting women online. You're so self-unaware. You really think... Oh, goodness. So, the reason that I wanted to talk about Glinner now is for this reason. So, if you recognize this picture or even saw the thumbnail, you will know that in his latest kind of anti-transgender and specifically trans-misogynistic as well, the one thing that we need to recognize is that, like many transphobes, he is extremely hostile towards trans women, which, I've been on the receiving end of many times, and even by Glinner himself. Also, I actually recorded the entire episode before recording this little bit here, but after recording everything, I found out that Linehan was live streaming, so I just went in. Because, I'm a trans guy, these are very vocal transphobes, so I couldn't resist just a teensy bit of trolling. And Helen Stanaland, whose most tweeted word was penis because she's absolutely obsessed with the penises of trans women, actually went ahead and said...
Oh dear. Okay. Yeah.
But this person here is actually a person who felt that it was completely reasonable to continue to constantly send me pictures of phallic objects. So
Oh,
now,
really?
so yes, so this is a person who felt that it was absolutely fine, and another person that we have spoken about on many occasions were like, and another person that we have spoken about on many occasions were like, it's completely fine to send a woman unsolicited pictures of phallic objects to mock them because they care about female safeguarding.
That's right, folks. Graham Linehan is so obsessed with trans people that he has spoken about me, a random trans guy with just over 1,000 followers on Twitter and less than 500 subscribers on YouTube, many times. Graham, I'm no one. I'm a random fat loser. Why are you talking about me so much? What? Wow, and if that doesn't reiterate his obsession with trans people, I really don't know what will. Oh, and if you really wanted to know what Helen was banging on about, I sent her pictures of like the Eiffel Tower and the Leaning Tower of Pisa, telling her that she should avoid those places in case her rampant penis obsession starts. Helen, we're not mocking you because you supposedly care about female safeguarding, even though private changing rooms would eliminate the issue straight away, and you don't seem to be in favour of that. We're mocking you because you are so obsessed with the genitals of trans women, specifically penises, that you tweeted the word penis over 3,000 times in 1 year. We are mocking you for the fact that you are the one sexually harassing people. You're not being sexually harassed because you've been sent a picture of a tree or the Eiffel Tower. But I seriously want everyone to take away from this the fact that Graham Linehan, who has been as successful as I mentioned previously, has spoken about me on many occasions. I'm really not worth it. But I wanted to have a look at this sort of recent stunt of his because it's absolutely pathetic. Oh no, actually, I do want to say, like, while he is now pretending to be a trans woman online, previously he pretended to be a trans man, so he hates all trans people. It's just bloody obvious, but he's particularly vicious towards trans women. So he put this picture up and put himself as Graham, 29 years old, which obviously is supposed to be a joke because he's saying, oh, if I could be a she/her, then clearly I could also identify as 29. And he said, I'm a lesbian now. It's a good thing no one would identify as a woman for nefarious purposes. It just never happens. And then linked a thing about how he hates Stonewall. It goes, I'll let you know if I meet any fellow lesbians. Like this cutie, is he misgendering them? Like me trying to take the piss? Who knows? That's a joyous self-ID. Now, I don't know what their pronouns are, but okay, it's she, her. You know, and of course, this wasn't enough. Like, it wasn't enough to do this whole stunt about how he's joined a thing just for women and going, oh, well, if any trans woman can, then clearly I can. Like, that wasn't enough. So, he decided to... Oh, for fuck's sake. Like... Because this is obviously what all trans women look like, and it's classic with the whole kind of blue hairs insult that you get that goes on where they say, oh, trans women are bad because they occasionally dye their hair. Like, it's just ridiculous. And yeah, so in there he's edited this sort of very colourful stuff on his face, put lavender menace, which is like was a slang term in the 80s for predatory lesbians. That I love lesbian tongues, ask me about my pronouns and ask me about me, you know, because it's this whole idea as to why, you know, trans people are clearly self-obsessed, even though Graham Linehan is shoving himself into all these spaces. No, he just wants to make it about how he hates us. This is like the real gross thing. He put lesbian, queer questioning, put his pronouns as she, her, and yeah, I am going to be calling him he, him, because... You know, the thing is that if Graham Linehan came out as a trans woman and was serious about it and said, you know what, actually, I do want to be called this, we would respect that. The trans community would respect that because we respect self-identification. However, this isn't it. This is just him trying to make a point. So he goes, Graham 29, again, she, her, lesbian, queer, questioning, and of course this is a really, really horrible thing where he is essentially equating all trans women to paedophiles and sex offenders, where he says, loves cuddles, furry such adult baby, grew up with porn. Now that immediately is just fucking disturbing. Okay, the idea that he's saying, oh, all trans women, you know, because let's say that is a true thing. Okay, if you were in a situation where you grew up with porn, then you are a victim of child sexual abuse, you know, that's what that is. And to just throw that on as if it's a joke is really, really disturbing. You are the person that is inserting yourself, that is calling yourself the saviors of lesbians, putting yourself in these situations to attack people, and then using sexual assault as a weapon. Like, I'm sorry, Graham, but how fucking dare you? No, you don't care. Stop pretending you care. It's like when they talk about female genital mutilation, and that's actually something that I plan to write about. They never actually do anything to help victims. I've never seen them actively do anything to help victims of female genital mutilation. They only use them as a bargaining tool against trans women. Okay, so it says Reddit moderator because Reddit. Looking for girly sleepovers / pillow fights. What the fuck is it with like cishet men and just assuming that lesbian clearly means pillow fights? It's just, and of course Hazo Van because, you know, sexual assault is funny. Subscribe to my OnlyFans, no king shamers, okay, maybe king shamers. And of course the Her app realised that, you know, because he did this before, making this whole thing to, you know, say, oh, I'm meeting lesbians on Her as like this stunt, which of course then was reported in several different places. You know, Her was made aware of this, and so they tweeted in support, let's make this clear, Her is an app for all women and queer folk. It is not our nor anybody else's place to question or invalidate another's identity. We are here for all women, including the trans community. Please be assured this user will be found and removed from our platform. Additionally, we're in contact with Substack and have this to have this dangerous act of transphobia removed from our screens. So a huge well done to the Her app, because you know, absolutely that is all this is, and I'm going to show you more of his Substack later, but it's pretty much just a long hate manifesto towards trans people. That's exactly what I said. He created some of the greatest comedies that Britain has known, and he gave it all up to become a full-time fucking transphobe, and I just don't know why you would decide to do like the face heel turn villain anime arc. Ha ha ha, it's been me, Boku wa Kira desu. I don't fucking know. And of course, because this caricature wasn't enough, he got removed, and he wanted to, or, you know, he said, I wasn't getting many matches, so I went for the Jamie Windust. I don't know who that is. Let me Google this. Okay, I just realised that I do know who Jamie Windust is. They are a non-binary writer, and they have actually done a lot of really good work in terms of non-binary acceptance, and they have had that similar style that Graham Linehan was showing before. Yeah, here. So this is what they are talking about. It's this event, and yeah, I just didn't recognise their name, but yeah, I do recognise them now, and they have actually done a lot of good work. Yeah, this is awful. Like look at this, and then look at that in a kind of a, oh, look, I'm funny, you know, I'm posing, and I'm, you know, doing, because non-binary people are weird, right? So I do this, you know, like, it's pathetic. It is childish bullying. He is a grown fucking man. Like, how old is this man? Like, he's well into his 50s at least, and he's just spending all of his time mocking queer people online. Oh. So yeah, let's see what he said. Yeah, boop bot beat, because of course that's another, you know, pronoun joke that a lot of the transphobes have now. Okay, so put Neutra Maverick, Space Overlord, on date will need you to pay for my taxi so builders don't make fun of me. Magical new type of human and certainly not a bog standard electro goth. Raising money for sedan chair. Polyamorous as will need third person to help carry sedan chair. You know, just... You know how to be funny, and this isn't it. And of course, it all started when Graham Linehan decided to do a thing called These Are Not Lesbians. All he is doing is attacking a load of trans people, and I'll say people because not all of them are women, you know, some of them identify as like non-binary or other, you know, identities within them, you know, or under the trans umbrella rather. So he is just attacking these people for being trans and not looking feminine enough, and that's it. So I'm gonna blur all of them because it's terrible, but you will be able to see just by the blurs like how many people I'm scrolling past. So he goes, these are all from the lesbian dating rapper Her, and he's just like talking about how it's insulting homophobic bullshit. And this is what really annoys me, because somebody being a lesbian and other lesbians not necessarily being attracted to them doesn't invalidate them, okay? And it's also the implication that a lesbian has to want to have sex with all women, or that a gay man has to want to have sex with all men. And it's like, you know, I'm not going to go to Graham and be like, oi, Graham, if you're not willing to shag your grandma, then you're denying that she's a woman because you like women. You know, it's such bollocks. I'm just going to scroll through. And here, and again, I'm going to blur everyone because none of these people deserve this bollocks. Again, this is somebody, all these people have done is identify as a lesbian. And he has just posted person after person after person, attacking them based on their queerness. You know, just, that's it. Like this person said, I describe my queer identity as lipstick in Godzilla movies, which I think is heckin' cool. But it's just nothing but attacking these people based on how they look, based on the fact that he doesn't think that they're feminine enough for lesbians. And quite frankly, Glinner, you're not a fucking lesbian. I mean, I'm not a fucking lesbian either, but, you know, I'm not going to validate how people identify based on that. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's just awful. It's just cruel. This is nothing but cruel. You are bullying trans people. Okay, we're at the bottom now, but it's just endless. Trans people that you don't think are attractive enough and therefore should not be on this website. It's absolutely disgusting. People's worth is not based on whether or not you would consider them shaggable. And quite frankly, a lot of the people on here are very pretty. What's your problem? It's just nothing but attacking people and pretending that he's doing it because he cares about women, because he cares about gay people. You are not gay, Glinner. You are not a woman. You are not either of these demographics, nor do you actually care about them. You are just using them as a pawn to hate trans people. And it is absolutely fucking disgusting. Now, he did actually get booted off of Her. Oh my goodness. This has been edited to absolute fuck. Jesus Christ. So, like, he's changed pink news to penis news. Here, he's, like, insulting David Paisley, who... yeah, for somebody that's supposedly, like, anti-homophobia, David Paisley is a cis gay man that stands up for, you know, trans rights. And, for fuck's sake, and, you know, like, oh... cottages are now validated. You know, this is all just edited to make everybody, yeah, look, news, entertainment, trans. It's not all about us. It's just you're fucking obsessed with us, you creep. And, yeah, you know, we'll have our cake and eat it, says Herself. This is pathetic. He went to so much effort to edit, like, a thing to make it look like it was by Pink News, just to, you know, be homophobic and transphobic. And then, of course, because he's obsessed with trans people and transness and attacking trans people as much as he fucking can, he goes, I got back on her. This one he puts pronouns as they, them, trans women, lesbian, bisexual questioning. And what he actually did is he said, this time to ensure I'm not doing anything that breaches their terms and conditions, I've copied the text in my profile from my fellow lesbian Ashley here, and just put from they, them, trans woman, lesbian, bisexual question, hey, I'm a trans girl waiting for my boobs, maybe you'll get to be the first one to see them. I'm studying psychology and English at college and a fan of a lot of Japanese culture, it looks so rad. So just outright bullying, like singling out a trans woman and bullying. That's what he's doing. That's what he has decided to dedicate his entire life to. And the thing is that he has chased away so many people because of this as well. Like, he has got rid of so many people. Like, let me see if I can find a clip from this interview, or rather this stream of Limmy's, where he is discussing Graham Linehan. Before we move on, I just wanted to remind everybody of this tragic image. Imagine your transphobia being so intense that your wife leaves you and you are left in Marks and Spencer buying all of the ingredients for spaghetti carbonara, including the pans. Nevertheless, I thought it was worth showing some of Glinner's lore before we go into anything else. So, I did actually find the stream that I was looking for. A little bit of backstory first. So, this stream was from 2019, so bear that in mind. So, the original falling out that happened between Limmy and Glinner, that's a really difficult thing to say. The original falling out that happened between them was about 7 years ago at this point. So, just to tell you who Limmy is, if you aren't familiar with him, he is a comedian, and he's just a really, really funny guy. But he had a little bit of awkward working conditions with Graham Linehan previously, and then they fell out on Twitter over like a disagreement with Caitlin Moran of all freaking people.
Maybe somebody thinks, listen, say when you actually chat with somebody, you hear a voice and you speak in your voice, it just calms the whole thing down, and I get that. I don't know what he was planning, but he didn't just say to my agent, "Hi, I wonder if you could pass my phone number on to Brian. It's about something we were chatting about on Twitter. If you could pass it on if he wants to give me a call, or could you at least pass my email address on and tell him that I want to." I think he had my email address. I don't know. Could you give me Brian's email address? Could you give him my email address? Something like that, right? Something like that. But he didn't. It was a big email, and a lot of it was, "Hi, just looking to get Brian's number, if he could pass it on to me or give him my phone number. The reason is this: Brian's just said some really hurtful." No, I don't know that this is word for word, right? So I'm just sort of making it up here. But the feeling, just casting my mind back 5 years, because that's when it was something along the lines of, I don't know if you know, but Brian has been saying some really hurtful things on Twitter. You know, I don't know where this is come from. He's accused me of things I haven't done, and he's been, you know, quite aggressive about it. And you know, I've tried to explain myself. I don't know where it's came from, because, you know, I actually, you know, helped Brian, you know, did that Skype thing with him to try and help him, and he just turns around and does this to me. And I'm just looking to, you know, I don't know where it's come from, and I'm looking to, you know, if you could get his number, or you could pass my number on to him, you know, that kind of thing. And I was just reading it like, you fucking grassing bastard. My God, you try to get me into trouble. Are you honest of putting your horn up, going like, Miss, you know, he could have just went like, going to pass my email address, going to give me Brian's email address if he doesn't mind. He basically tried to grass us, and my agent's like that, right, I'll pass it on. You know, was she meant to get me into trouble? Because she'd have no place doing that, obviously. Is she meant to go like, right, Brian, you know, calm down. She's not my fucking girlfriend. She's not my fucking wife. She's not my ma. She wasn't interested. She's just like, Graham Linehan sent me this. You know, if you want to, don't know what that's all about, you know. I went, alright, cheers, I'll deal with it. That was it. I was like, fucking grassing bastard, man. And then yesterday or the day before, Caitlin Moran was going like that. Anybody remember when Twitter was good? Remember the good days of Twitter? Any good memories? And some people are tweeting her, oh, I remember the good memories of you saying you're going to cut off Limmy's cock because he was slagging off your husband. And Graham Linehan said something like, oh, I remember once when people gave you a hard time when I was defending you. I also remember Limmy thinking I was subtweeting him and he was being pretty obnoxious about it. And even after I explained myself, he still not apologised. But remember what I was saying last night or the night before was recently, ever since he got into the whole kind of being critical of trans rights activists and stuff like that, and being very critical and talking about that 24 hours a day, he recently, around about the time he became cancelled by a lot of people, got cancelled by a lot of people, he then followed me after like years of us no talking. No that like we're usually talking and then we're no talking and it's dead obvious we're no talking anymore. You don't notice it, right? But he just unfollowed me and I wasn't following him and that was that for years. And then ever since he got cancelled, he followed me. And he tweeted me about something about, oh, this is like my jogger sketch. This is like the perfect sketch. And I thought, that's funny, you befriending me again round about the same time as you being cancelled. Are you trying to get me on side? Are you trying to get an ally here to help you through this? I didn't say that. I just replied, went, oh, cheers, thanks. And then he's unfollowed me again. Maybe because there's that mermaids charity thing and I like hosted, that stream. So that's it. And then yesterday he said that wee thing about me. So I wonder if he was trying to get me on side as a bit of a kind of useful idiot or something like that. Fuck knows.
So yeah, that's the long and short of it. Basically, Graham Linehan was previously rather unpleasant to work with. Then, following a minor disagreement, tried to get Limmy in trouble with his agent. And then, after, years of not talking to him, tried to be friends with him as soon as it came out that he's a massive transphobe and is just dedicating his time to that. Hoping to get at least one person on his side, which is quite ironic for somebody who seemed to wear the label most hated man on the internet with pride. Then unfollowed him as soon as he realised that he was hosting a stream for the Mermaids charity which helps transgender children. And then decided to start tweeting crap about him reminiscent of Regina George on Twitter. Come on, for God's sake, the pettiness, the absolute pettiness of this man is just mind-blowing. You could have done so much. You did do so much, and now you're a millionaire and you're like, right, now I've got the comedy under the belt, I can just dedicate all of my resources to hate. Pretending that you give a damn about women and gay people when you abuse them at any freaking chance you get. It used to be that as soon as I saw Graham Linehan on a programme, I thought, oh good, this means that this is going to be a good comedy, he's a good comedy writer. And he is, and was, and that's why it's really heartbreaking for me, because he's somebody that inspired so much of what I do now. Honestly, at this moment in time, I just look to Rick Mail for inspiration, and I really hope that that's channeling through in some way or another. And as if Graham Linehan hasn't spent enough time editing his own photos in an attempt to mock trans women, he also created this. It's a lesbian miracle. Because, he's only obsessed with, trans lesbians. Well, actually trans women, to be fair, but for some reason he has this creepy obsession with trans women. And so this time he's called himself Glinner, and now put his age as 39, which is still a freaking joke. For fuck's sake. Glinner, genuinely, I don't know any trans person whose name is anything remotely like their dead name. I genuinely don't. This is just ridiculous. Lesbians everywhere are signing up with supposed lesbian yet suddenly queer dating app her, using my image as a symbol of all that modern lesbianism represents. What a joyful thing it is. My fellow lesbian mother Jackie has also taken advantage of the, shall we say, relaxed attitude to safeguarding. I'm sorry, what? The only issue with safeguarding is that you are on there. The trans women that don't apparently look feminine enough to meet this freaking bigot standards, they're not the problem, it's you. It is you going on there specifically to harass queer women. Lesbians everywhere are signing up with a supposed, yeah, we've already read this. And of course we got Mother Jackie, feck off, drink, girls, arse, gender non-conforming, I love my brick. And all of this, if you don't know, is a reference to Father Ted. This is my voice broke then. This is a picture of Father Jack. I think it's a real shame to use his picture this way because he was an absolutely lovely man, and I don't care if the intellectual property of Father Ted's is it's technically this bigot's right here. This man, he was lovely. He wouldn't approve of his photo being used this way. And of course they're using all of these all of these fake profiles in order to go, haha, look, the joke is trans women are ugly, praising Baroness Nicholson, who of course, has done everything she can to get rid of lesbian rights, as a huge homophobic bigot, trying to get rid of the possibility of gay marriage. Like, all of these are just to call trans women ugly over this obsession that Graham Linehan has with trans people, and specifically trans women. It's abhorrent. I don't know why you would go from creating Father Ted's, Black Books, the IT Crowd, to this, to spending your entire online presence, as Libby said before, 4 hours a day, probably 24/7 now, apart from when he sleeps, if he sleeps. I don't know if he sleeps anymore. I think he just, has some kind of lab where he experiments with sleep things so that he can spend all night hating trans people. I'm talking crap. This whole thing has been me talking crap, but hey, you wouldn't have clicked on this video if you didn't want that. Now, if you've somehow made it this far without coming to the conclusion that Glinner is weirdly obsessed with trans people, queer people, and specifically lesbians, and defending lesbians for some reason, even though lesbians definitely don't need him, just have a little look through his Substack. Now, this is the one that you have to pay if you want to comment. If you want to listen to this, then you gotta pay, so... Oh god, people are though, that's the sad thing, is that people are freaking, paying money just to read transphobic bollocks, or just to comment on transphobic bollocks. So if you have a look, it's all, it is all just transphobia. Anti-trans, it's just nothing but, let's be transphobic, let's be transphobic, let's be transphobic. Stands up for, Kelly J. Keane has been contacted by Zoom and told that she's promoting hate. This is an incredibly hateful woman. This is the person who said that cis men should take guns into women's toilets if they see a trans woman going in there. Like, she actually calls for murder. She's an awful, awful person. So it's absolutely nothing but obsessive posting about queer people. Now, I'm not going to go any further down than this because it's just attacking queer people who aren't in the public eye. So, people don't deserve that. But I thought I would also have a look at this because this just shows how ridiculous Graham Linehan is. If you actually have a look at this thing about Eddie and Graham, how to be responsible male lesbians. Now, first of all, Eddie Izzard never called herself a lesbian. Okay. Thanks, Molly and Ben, for the Photoshop. How pathetic. No, but seriously, Eddie Izzard, all she said is that she prefers she, her pronouns. That's it. She never said that she never even said that she was a woman, first of all, but she has described herself as gender fluid and has said that she always preferred she, her pronouns and would rather people used those with her. That's it. Now, actually, I do have some issues with Eddie because she actually came out saying, oh, I don't think J.K. Rowling is transphobic and supporting, all of these transphobic ideas about us, which shows that, just because one person has this one idea as to what being trans is like doesn't mean that they speak for everyone. But when you look at what Graham Linehan is actually saying about Eddie and lesbians and all of that. I mean, he just shows that he hasn't got a fucking clue. So he talks about single-sex spaces and how safeguarding of women and children is more important than validating the feelings of 2 middle-aged men, or hundreds of middle-aged men, which of course is just saying that trans women exist to be sexual predators, which is offensive, obviously. And then it goes on and says, you know, forcing people to use preferred pronouns is compelled speech, and Eddie and I won't have it. We will never require another human being to lie in order to protect our feelings. The pronouns you choose for us are none of our business. Compelled speech is also an early sign of authoritarian rule, another reason Eddie and I hate it. Really? You're comparing using someone's correct pronouns to fascism? It's beggars belief. It's just what world do you think we're taking? Like, most of us can't even get jobs, Graham. You know? And then, of course, it goes on and says, you know, oh, God. And for God's sake, take your pronouns out of your bio. Trans rights will never be advanced by people behaving like sheep. I reiterate, this is a man who has had so many successful sitcoms and gave it all up to rant about trans people having their pronouns in their bio on Twitter. I mean, wow. Wow. And of course, going on, we will not compete in women's sport because we have a huge physical advantage and it wouldn't be fair. Really? Really? Do you really think that you, Graham Linehan, have a huge physical advantage over Nicola Adams, gold medal winner for the UK, for Great Britain in the Olympics? Do you really think you have that physical advantage? Because I don't. I mean, for goodness sake, though, they're just absolutely awful. He's just an awful, awful man, and the fact that he did this whole thing, like using Eddie Izzard to attack trans people. Graham said, only people who have suddenly started calling themselves trans, like Eddie Izzard and me, are allowed to talk about trans issues. Eddie Izzard has actually been identifying as transgender for years, okay? Like, she has described herself as transgender since I was a kid, and I remember seeing Eddie Izzard on TV, but she spoke about what being trans was like then. For two people who have done comedy, you should know more about Eddie Izzard than this. It's just absolutely embarrassing. It really is just wow, and it just shows ignorance. And of course, it's all just, you know, assuming that trans women are there to take over everything and to assault women and children whenever they get a chance. It's absolutely disgusting, and it just shows how creepily obsessed he is with trans people. Well, my lovely little couplings, that's it for this special edition of Are the Cis-Hets Okay, which focused solely on Graham Linehan. If you like the little jingle at the beginning, that was created by my good friend Maddiecat, who can be found at Maddiecat100 on Twitter. And don't forget, if you would like to become part of the T-Set, then all you need to do is hit that subscribe button. If you want to go ahead and give this video a like, it really helps a trans guy out. If you want to help me out even more, then I do have a Patreon, but just being here and watching my videos and interacting helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate it, folks. And until the next one, I will see you all next time.